Vojtko. This is my second Podcamp, and I'm really thrilled to be presenting again 2 years in a row. I am going to be going over some tips and tricks for wowing your boss whenever you are in charge. Wowing your boss as a social media manager. Quickly, I want to see how many people are social media managers, either for yourself, for your business, a startup. 98%, great. Would expect no less. I'm going to start by telling you a little story, give you some background why I present about analytics and reporting. I started my job 2 years ago at a small startup software company. We create fundraising software for nonprofit organizations. And I have a very analytical boss. She is precise, she's very metrics oriented, and quite honestly, a little intimidating. And I started working with her, and I'm their first marketing professional in the company. And she gives me 20 projects in the first week, and one of them being, let's revamp our social media. Prior to me, they had just a part-time guy doing posting whenever he felt like it. There was really no strategy or rhyme or reason behind his activity. So I inherited a Facebook page that had, we had 3 posts in the year of 2010. I had a Twitter feed that also had about 15 tweets in the year 2010. And I look at myself, I said, I know how to tweet, and I know how to generate some engagement, but I have to report back to this woman who she needs to justify everything I do. So how am I going to get her approval? And in a series of conversations, I had a lot of these looks. This is the stare, the glare I call it actually, where she's just looking at me across the table, needing to hear more, needing justification. So the first 3 months of my job, I got pretty quick, jump start on how you report, how you get insights, and you really show your success in social media. I'm going to break this up into 3 parts, and I know at least everyone in this room is going to hear of at least one of these reports. There's probably you're probably going to see a few new things, but what I want to hear is maybe you're using a tool differently than I am, and I love that kind of conversation, so please pipe up and catch me if I didn't explain something correctly. The first part of this talk, we're going to talk about metrics. These are some hardcore, getting down to the nitty-gritty. Google Analytics, I live in. I'm there every day, but whenever they revamped the social aspect of analytics about 3 or 4 months ago, it really changed my world. We can now justify on where, not only the source, so we could always tell the referral source if it was Facebook, Twitter, or whatever, but now I can see where they're funneling to, what they're looking at, why they're leaving, what posts they come to. This is my favorite report, and I'm sorry it's not showing well because Google's very gray and white, but what this is showing is, so you have Facebook coming in and say it's 50% of your social media traffic. The majority of the Facebook, they go over to this page, they go in this page, and then you can see where they drop off. So it's a very visual approach of showing the traffic patterns of your social media visitors. I don't know if you can really see it from way back there, but there are these red drop-off arrows, and it can indicate what kind of pages, maybe that's where they got enough information, they're satisfied with their visit to your website, or it can indicate that they're just not finding what they need and you need to go back and reevaluate what's on your site. How many people have explored Facebook Insights? I mean, I hope anybody who has a brand page has been on Insights. I don't love it. I don't think that it tells you as much as it should, and it could be able to, but it's a good start to understanding your demographic and when they're coming to your page and what they're seeing and what they're responding to, most of all, actually. this is a page, this is the main graph, it's the overview graph, and it does point out your posts and what kind of post gets you the most generation. So this is one of the pages I manage, and what isn't shown here is there's a little inflection here. So I'm gonna look back and see what post did I put out around October 20th, and I'm gonna try to mimic that and redo it again, and maybe next week, or tweak it just a little bit and keep getting that uptick in engagement.
Is that the main dashboard page?
Yeah, this is the overview. I think my next slide, this is check-ins. So not all of the accounts I manage has a physical location, but I love when they do, because it's so much fun to manage and to see when people are checking in and what they're responding to and what they're posting. But this graph will show mobile devices versus how they check in on the website. So whenever I sat here this morning in this room to listen to Pittsburgh Dad, I got on my actual, on my mobile device and I checked in. But you can go from your desktop computer and say that you're at Point Park, and you can see either way. There's one, I manage a hair salon in the North Hills, and I think it's really powerful for that location to encourage taking photos of their before and after hair and checking in at the actual salon, because then it shares on their Facebook profile, and I like to see what kind of new likes I receive after an uptick in check-ins. Hootsuite, there seems to be, everyone either loves Hootsuite or they love TweetDeck, and I'm just a Hootsuite gal. I really do all of my management through Hootsuite. But what I love about it, and I think that you all should do as well, is they can do custom reporting. And what I have here on the screen graph is, this is what it would look like if you're building your own report. So they're drag and drop widgets, which is really slick. At the end of the month, whenever I go to send my boss some reports, I just put in, I create a document, and they really give you like point values for each widget. So if I wanted to pull up clicks by region, top refers, and top links, say each one of those widgets costs 20 points, and then sometimes they can do free template reports, but if you want to customize a little bit more, it might cost $10 a month. It's not too much, but this is a great opportunity to customize what kind of reports matter to your business and to who you're reporting to. And it's colorful, it has a lot of graphics, it makes sense, and it's, for the most part, it's a free service. I think it's in your best interest to check it out and try it. I don't have any experience with Pinterly. Does anyone use Pinterest for business, do reporting? Do you, Em?
I've never used it, but I don't even know what this site is.
Oh, okay, so there are a good segment of marketers who are still using Pinterest, not still, but actively using Pinterest for brand engagement. And like anything else, you need to report on that. You need to make sure that you're spending your time wisely and getting the correct timing down, the correct kind of post down. And Pinterly seems to be the best option out there. And you can do it from your personal brand if you're just curious and see how it works. I don't have any personal experience in it. I did start to leave Pinterest earlier this year, so I haven't really been on it too much to even show you sample statistics. But Pinterly might be a good option, and it's free. I just wanted to point that out as another tool to use.
Why did you leave Pinterest?
I left Pinterest because for the brands I was managing, it didn't make any sense. On a personal level, I just felt like there's a good bit of fluff. I just wasn't getting the time. I spent a lot of time in there. I wasn't really getting anything out of it. I'm sure I'm a Christmas freak, so I'm sure starting in November I'm going to start back. But for now, it just doesn't make sense for me. Yeah.
I just started using Pinterly about a month ago.
Oh yeah.
And the most useful thing that it does is show you how many people are clicking your individual pins.
That's
so
cool.
you can also see your top performing boards.
Cool.
So it's not that detailed, but it's a really good overview of what is working.
Does it allow you to schedule pins?
No.
Okay. I know that.
I get the feeling that it's pretty new and they're starting to do more things with it, but
Yeah.
it doesn't always need to do that.
So what she said is that Pinnerly, she uses it for your personal account or for a company?
I use it for my company.
Okay. Pinnerly allows you to see what kind of posts get really good clicks.
Yeah.
And what else?
It shows you your reach,
Okay.
and it gives you some cool little graphs on your top performing boards,
Okay.
and you can sort it by date.
So shows you reach, top performing boards, and by date.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that there are some paid services that allow you to schedule your pins. So as we all can assume that Pinterest takes up high in traffic in the early to late evening. We're not always working in the evening, so it gives you that chance to get them right then whenever the eyeballs are on your boards. I also don't have experience with Simply Measured. I've used it once or twice a while ago, but they have a bunch of free reports, a ton. Simply Measured. There is a paid service, but there also is a free version of this, and it really seems to be a wealth of potential resources for you. My favorite kind of reporting. So my boss loves the metrics that I just showed you. She reports that to the board of directors. That keeps my job going. But what I am fascinated by, and I use it for my personal accounts, are insights. So this is where I'm going to get really excited. Who uses Buffer app? If you're not, go immediately. Get on it. It is so cool. Bufferapp.com. It's probably 2 years now. They've been around in a very small tech team. They also have a really good blog. If you're an entrepreneur, they write a killer blog. But what Buffer app allows me to do, there's a Chrome extension on my browser, and I think there's one for Firefox too, that whenever you're on your favorite website, so I have a list of blogs that I love to check every day. And if there's a link or an article I'm really enjoying, right from my Chrome extension, it lets me shorten that link and schedule a tweet, a Facebook post, or a LinkedIn post. So I don't even have to move to another page. It is so slick. But even better, I check it once every few days. I go to the actual website, bufferapp.com, and it lets me see analytics. So I can see how many people are clicking on my articles that I tweet or post, the potential reach, so if it's been retweeted, so I have so many followers, but if it is retweeted 3 times, that might now get up to 5,000 people, a reach of 5,000, so that's important. And then a number of retweets, mentions, and favorites. And right from this analytics tool, I can thank people for the mention, thank people for the retweets. I love it. I use this thing every single day. But for the reporting, it helps me see what people are interested in. In the spring, I sent a tweet out about Greek festivals happening in the city, and I got like 55 retweets within a couple of days. People just really like gyros, and I don't blame them. I do too. So Social Bros, another cool one. I'm not in here every day, maybe probably once a month. It's another Chrome app that I use. And it has to update, it refresh all of the data, but it lets me see what kind of followers I have, what followers are following me, but I'm not following them, what kind of interaction that they have, their influence. I can filter by time zone, I can filter by public, private, languages. It really gives me a lot of data about my Twitter follower base. And I really enjoy checking it out. For the most part, I love seeing who follows me but I don't follow, or who I should be following. Lets me keep up with my engagement without spending a whole lot of time looking through that follower feed. Twitter counter is a very simple one. It's just a little website. You put in your profile and you hit go, and it generates all this good insights for you. Good thing about this is I can actually sneak out my competitors. So because I don't have to verify any kind of account, I can just put in all my competitors, see what kind of followers they have, but see their trends. and it allows me to look back. What kind of campaign did they do last month that got them 500 new followers? So that's useful. And then I can also look at it. I'm sorry, the colors here aren't that clear, but I have my follower base versus tweets. So over the past 6 months, how has my tweet count increased and how has my follower count increased? These are really geeky things that I just really get into. Bitly, do people use link shorteners? Yeah? Now, how many of you go back and report on your links? That's a cool little feature I'm not sure if everyone knows about, but anytime that you use Bitly or Owly or any of those link shorteners, you can go back and see how many clicks that you've received. And what this graph is showing you in the first number column, it says these are the links that I've shortened that people have actually clicked on my links. The second or middle column are the total number of clicks. So I suck at Halloween. I suck at Halloween. That link that I sent out had 3,500 clicks. So that to me means people are interested in it. It's worth my while to put that out into my networks too.
So those 3,400, they did not click through your link, or they did?
No, they didn't.
But that's how many people clicked on that. Okay.
Yeah. I'm rolling through these slides. Finally, social discovery. How many of you are actively looking to grow your base? Everybody. So, unfortunately, I have more. I wish there were more of these sites, and please feel free to yell out some of your favorite ones to discover accounts to be following. But the one that I use a good bit is Social Mention. So you can go in here, look for a topic, a keyword, something that you really want to be known for, and you can see what kind of blogs are out there. You can actually see from this drop-down list, I can search blogs, microblogs, networks, comments, events, images, the whole internet pretty much, and the social internet, and seeing what kind of audience that particular topic has. So there's 10. I gave you 10 tools, and I did roll through this pretty quickly, but I gave you 10 potential tools to use for reporting and analytics. But there's one more that I kind of mentioned in the last session as a attendee, but PageRank or EdgeRank is getting some attention in the past few months. Does everyone know what EdgeRank is? It's Facebook's SEO, pretty much. So Google has their own algorithm for pulling up top websites on your search engine results page, so there's Bing and Yahoo. But now Facebook has an algorithm to show what are the most important posts to be going on a newsfeed versus kind of some junky posts that aren't worthwhile. So there's a couple of different themes that they use. The first is kind of lively tweets. So they don't want or posts. They don't want anything that's dead, old, stale. Another mention here, or another factor, is timing. What kind of day, and then your history of engagement. So Facebook believes that comments, someone who comments on a post of yours, they care more. That's an indicator that you're more credible. Versus a like, which is a tenth of a second, anyone can do a like. So if your page gets more comments, that means that you are more credible and Facebook is more likely to show your post on the newsfeed. So EdgeRank is kind of a trick, not a trick, but kind of a mystery to most of us right now. We don't fully understand how to get the most engagement on Facebook. But there is a service I just discovered this week while preparing for this presentation that's kind of, I think, worth your time, worth checking out, but it's called EdgeRank Checker, that if you just Google it, you'd find it on that. But it will tell you a little bit deeper than your current Facebook insights. So it tells you a little bit more about the days, your best days to post, your best kind of engagement. If you do pay, I think paying is like $5 a month, it'll tell you even more. But right now I'm kind of anti-paying for these things until something proves to be worthwhile for the long run, I think that this might be worth it. It's just a hunch though. Can anyone have any questions about EdgeRank? Okay.
Katie,
Yeah.
is it if, like, on 10-14, maybe where that huge green curve is?
Right.
So you can go back into your Facebook posts and see, back to your timeline and see what that was that
Yeah.
that got such a high
Yeah.
commenting, I guess.
So this was that I did that exact thing. Jessica's question was, did you see a spike? Do you go back and figure out what it was? And I always do. I'm always curious. This photo, that spike was caused by a photo I took of a guy in our office, but he brought a dog in to work. So the guy's like sitting at his desktop computer, the dog is like peeking up over his shoulder. It was really, really cute, but it got the most likes out of anything we've posted in like a year. So I'm not surprised for that little spike there.
Wait, can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
When it says on the bottom, most new fans on a Tuesday, does that then help you post things Tuesday morning because you know a lot of people
Yeah.
are engaged then? That's another way you could use it?
Yeah. Well, I'll probably post the end of day Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
Because now, yeah, because I think I just got some more on Tuesday, so I'm going to try to keep them interacting. Obviously, we're a tech company and we're B2B, so the least new fans come on a Sunday. That doesn't surprise me. We don't do much engagement on the weekend. My best edge rank is on a Monday, which I don't totally get, but I'll use that information, and I do post typically on Mondays and then definitely in the middle of the week. So putting it all together, why I use these tools, why I trust them so much, and how often I'm using it. So my first reason for analytics, or my first advice, pick what's most appropriate to you. So if you're not on Pinterest, don't bother with Pinterly. Or if you're not actively sharing other blog posts, don't worry about Buffer app. That just works for what I do. Whatever your boss cares about or your bottom line cares about, that's where you should be putting your time and resources into figuring out the metrics to get you closer towards your goal. I cannot speak highly enough about regular reporting. It can be lost in the shuffle, we're all so busy, but if you're not actively going back and figuring out, why did I see that spike on Tuesday? Or what are my followers interested in? Or am I missing something? Am I not following somebody that I should? You're not gonna keep on check, you're not gonna continue growth. And I also find this is a good idea to circle back and remember the goal of why I'm on social media. Because for my brands, the professional brands, it's not just to engage. There's a bigger goal, and I have to keep my focus there. When it comes to presenting, my boss doesn't get social media. She thinks does waste time. It's exhausting. She doesn't totally understand the value, but she trusts that it's important for our brand because I interact with a lot of nonprofits, and that's where they are. So I always give her reports that she gets. So she really likes metrics and numbers and Excel spreadsheets, so I try to give her back some information in that format. If I had a very visual boss, I'd focus more even on some screenshots or use that Hootsuite app I was talking about with their analytics tool to custom make your own reports. That's slick. I think that that's really easy to do, and it gets across the message that you're on the right track, you're doing the right thing. Keep up with it and always adjust. So 2 years ago when I started this whole thing, I was only doing the same kind of posts, very one-sided, but I've learned throughout my reporting and throughout the last couple of years what people like, and I've adjusted my approach, and thanks to reporting. That's 100% I give credit to reports for keeping up with my accounts. And then never stop learning. It's how it is in every social media outreach, and every social media manager should continue to read blogs, keep up with reports, because they change every day. I mean, I just learned probably 2 or 3 new tools for making this presentation I didn't know prior. Any other pieces of advice that you guys would like to share?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I used to use Hootsuite and then I got out of it, now I'm back in it. So the reports you pull from Hootsuite, do you use the paid one or the free one?
For
It only gives you a certain amount of things you can do for
Yeah.
a free report.
That's what I was trying to say. Like Deanna said, there is a free report on Hootsuite that it essentially gives you all of these widgets, and widgets are like a drag and drop into the report, and each widget would tell you something new, and it gives you so many credits. So you get credits for widgets, and then once you're out of credits, you have to pay. I've gotten along so far with just the free. There have been months where I've had to pay just to get a little bit more. Like at the end of the year, I would pay to get a full report of our year's activity. I think that's worthwhile. I don't know about you, but I try to keep this stuff as minimal as possible in cost, because a lot of it you could do with time. You know, if you wanted more information, you could dig a little bit deeper and get it.
So what are you measuring on Hootsuite then for Twitter? So like mentions, retweets,
Yeah.
favorites, kind of thing?
I go back, and what I'm really interested in, how many people are clicking from Twitter to our website, because in our bottom line, we want people to sign up for a demo. Everyone has that one call to action that you really want to get through, and mine's sign up for a demo. So I go through, I use Hootsuite to find out what kind of people are clicking to our website, and I use Google Analytics to find their track pattern. And I have to understand, what are they looking at? Are my Twitter followers more interested in our blog? Or are they going over to another social network? Or are they actually learning more about our product and contacting us to learn more? But that's a personal decision on what
Right.
you
That's most
value.
important to you.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some other pages that I manage, they care more about engagement. It's not about a call to action for a sell. So they just want people to comment or to post. That's all they really care about. So it's in that respect, reporting is just a little bit easier. Does anyone else go through Google Analytics the way that I just described? Figuring out where they come from and then moving forward to what they do? I see some head nods. That's so valuable for a marketing specialist to understand what people are really interested in on your website and where they leave your website.
So on Google Analytics, because I don't use that, does it show you just it goes to your website, or does it show where on your website? Does it show blog versus you're a nonprofit to donate, or does it just say
Yeah.
it goes to your website?
So there's a couple of different reports. What she's asking is, does Google Analytics just go to your website? Is that what you're?
Right, if you were talking from Twitter to your website, because you want them to sign up for the demo.
Oh.
Does it show that it goes to the demo, or does it just go to a blog post?
It would actually, I could actually look through the pattern of their visits and track it. But there's this really cool report, very visual report that you might be interested in, that it pulls up your homepage, and it's through Google Analytics, so it's not your actual homepage, and it will point out, it'll highlight the hot spots of your homepage and how many percentage of clicks per visitor you're getting on our logo, on our navigation, on our banner, on the social media links at the top right. And then even if you scroll down, it will have arrows like 5%, and that 5% means of all the people that come to your homepage, there are less than 5% of clicks before or underneath the fold, underneath the scroll line. So whenever I did my website redesign last summer, I really looked at this hard and trying to figure out what people are caring about and to keep it towards the top left. Any comments, suggestions on that thought? Okay. So we're at 11:33. I am about 10 minutes early, but I am putting out a shameless plug. Now, this plug is not for a business or not for my own personal use, but last year, a couple friends and I put together a social media professionals group. We meet once a month, and it's usually the second or third Wednesday of the month. These are really, really great sessions. We just had Sean Graham do a presentation in October, which was really, really great. And we'll continue to have social media specialists come in, and they're welcome for educators, for professionals, students, anyone that's interested studying or doing social media, we welcome you to come down. They're actually held at Point Park, so if you can make it here, you can make it to the sessions. You can find out more by following SMPGH on Twitter. Yeah.
Are they always going to be held at Point Park, and are they in this building?
They are, for the foreseeable future, will continue to be in Point Park. And they are not in this building, they're in, I'm not familiar with Point Park, but it's that, I think 401 Wood Street, I think it's the University Center. It's where JVH Auditorium is. We have class, there's sessions, there's Podcamp sessions there. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
201.
201 Wood Street? Okay. Academic Hall, that's it. Okay,
I do have a question for you.
yeah.
How much time do you do these daily, weekly, monthly? What's like your time commitment?
So Dana's asking the time that I spend in reporting. I probably put towards, for all of my social media hours in the 1 month, I would say reporting is 5 to 10% of the time I put in. So it's not, I don't think it's a huge investment on my end. I mean, I think it's totally worth it. I can't do social media without it. Overall, maybe monthly, it's about 5 hours a month. That Buffer app, though, I'm in it pretty much every day. And that Social Bro, I'm checking like once a week. Those are pretty solid. It doesn't take much time. It's the Google Analytics that takes me a lot of time. I mean, I can spend a day, a week in Google Analytics. There's one other thing I didn't put in the slideshow that I thought was worth a mention. Does anyone have an e-commerce site on their website? Sell actual goods? A few, maybe? There's a website that's free, and I can't believe it's free. It's called SumAll, SUMALL. It's a gorgeous website. It's phenomenal. And it partnered with Facebook, Twitter, Authorize.net, Google, the biggest names in e-commerce and social media, and it tracks your social media activity versus your sales. So it can tell you what kind of repeating sales you have, what kind of loyalty you have, but how many of your buyers are coming from Facebook and are coming from Twitter. I don't sell anything on any of my websites, so it's not worth it for me, but from the research that I did in it this past week, it's phenomenal, and I can't believe that it's free. So I can't imagine it's going to be free for long. I think there's going to be some sort of premium soon. So check it out if you're interested. I think I did see a hand. Yeah.
Do you pay for the premium Buffer services? And are the three that you mentioned, Buffer app, Social Bro, and Google Analytics, the three that you use the most?
And Hootsuite. Those are my 4 top. I don't pay for Buffer app, and I probably will soon. I manage a lot of websites, but I have a very small budget, and I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with that. So I use Hootsuite, and it's open all the time. So if I'm looking through articles that are going to be appropriate for my nonprofit community, I'm going to go into Hootsuite and just do the same thing on Hootsuite that I can on Buffer app. I spend a little bit less time managing my personal social media. So that's why I use Buffer app, and it lets me just do it on the fly. I don't have to think too much about it. It's automatic, and it does just as good of a job. I really hope Buffer app is going to be successful in the long term, so I probably will start to use them as a premium service soon.
Is there a reason you've chosen Buffer app over Hootsuite for the shortening when you're on the page? Because they have the app too that you can put the extension.
Yeah. Well, I like to keep everything separate. So Hootsuite allows me to keep all of my professional brands linked separately, and then my Buffer app allows me to do my personal links separately. So that's pretty nice. In terms of why I chose one or the other, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just what I got stuck into doing. I think I discovered Buffer app earlier, just maybe 8 months ago, and I fell in love pretty quickly. Yeah, I really dig them. And go on their blog. If anyone's an entrepreneur, their blog is stellar. Yeah.
Okay, so if I go on a Monday morning, I start, digging into some of these tools, your top 4 tools. And because I'm just starting now, am I gonna be able to get some data from the past, or are these tools gonna be from that point forward?
Let's see. Just from this point forward, but that's not to discourage you.
Right.
No, never too late to start tracking this stuff. Now, I'm sure do you have Google Analytics already set up with your website?
Nope.
Immediately, get that in now. That's awesome. That's yeah. I can't suggest that highly enough. You probably want 3 months at least of tracking on your Google Analytics before you can start doing some serious reporting. That might take away some of the inflections and just standard traffic. I like 6 months or more, but the cool thing is now you can get started immediately with social tracking on Google Analytics. So if anyone already has GA but you haven't set up your social, you should go in there and check that out soon. But now you can get started right from the get-go. And then Buffer app and Hootsuite, that's just as you go. And Social Bro, you can go, it goes back in time. So that's something you can get going with pretty quickly. It's a good question.
Something else to consider, you said, you like to have 3 months. If you have a cyclical calendar, sometimes you need to compare month to month.
Yeah.
From the past, because we're a school. So
Yeah, and you're-
like in August, comparing October to September or September to August doesn't make any sense for us because
Right.
we're not in school in August. So of course our analysts go up, everything goes up in September because we're back in school.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we like to compare, I always compare month to month, but I also always compare year to year.
Same thing with us. We often work with nonprofits who are either on calendar year or on fiscal year. So we can always tell, they get new budgets at the beginning of their years. And they often invest in technology like ours they have to spend the money or it's already budgeted. So we start to see influxes in website leads right around those, right around December and then May, the end of their years. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do you have to manage multiple professional Twitter accounts and Facebook pages? And if so, how do you kind of allocate your time to the different program areas or pages?
I do manage multiple. I don't have a good time management system for myself. I'll be very honest. It's like, I know I spend time doing all of them every day, and some I just love so much. I think I'm like obsessed with. Like I spend more time in one than I do in another. The scheduling, I know everyone has they're very anti or very pro scheduling, but it helps me a lot as I schedule. Even if it's something scheduled at 8 p.m. at night, if I get a retweet or a mention, it comes to my phone, so I still see it, so I can still manage it in real time. I know there's a bunch of other social media managers down on this end. Can anyone suggest time management for managing all these social media accounts?
I know there's a blog post on it.
Yeah, it's
It's a good tip.
It's tough. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is I have calendars. I have schedules of the day and how much I'm willing or how much I block off per task. But then I also put together a calendar, a monthly calendar that's very visual, that helps me understand what I'm looking to do this week, what kind of campaigns I want to do later this month, so I can keep up with it, keep preparing, and so they get off with a good strategy in place. So the daily and the monthly calendars help me a lot.
I'm gonna tweet a link to a really helpful blog post about this, and I'll hashtag it. But another thing I found is using Twitter lists are super helpful because you could get all the people that you want to see right in your list, and you can make them private, and you can just keep up with that list. So if you follow 3,000 people, you're not bogged down with tweets. You just have this certain list, whether you're, communicating with bloggers or whatever. So I think Twitter lists have been great. And this is part of this blog post, but I'll tweet it out to everybody.
So if anyone didn't hear what Deanna said, she said Twitter lists have been really helpful for her. So managing, even if you're following 3,000 different people, if you keep them in segments on your Twitter feeds, you can even keep that private if you don't want to show the whole world of what you're following or what you're working on. But that helps you streamline your thought process so you're only focusing on one at a time. personally, that's the biggest struggle, is thinking about too many brands at one time and trying to do them all at once. I'm not very successful, I'm not the best multitasker, so maybe that might be a better approach for you. Any other thoughts or questions?
Do you do, I didn't notice anything with YouTube.
Right, I don't use a whole lot of YouTube. But they have an insights page or section. I don't know if there's any analytics tools on top of YouTube Insights. Anybody know? No.
That's what I've been using there.
Yeah, whenever I have done YouTube videos, that's all I've used. LinkedIn as well has some reporting tools. If you're managing a company brand on LinkedIn, you can see, well, I actually really like to see, it will show you a list of the profiles of the companies that follow you. So if you follow or view your page. So I can see, like, I have competitor companies like looking and following us. That's good for me to know. It's not imperative information, but I kind of like that information. It's just useful. They can also tell you your network, so who your employee network is, but then who else broader are following your company. That tends to be useful insights, at least for my boss. I mean, it's cool to know that stuff. Any other thoughts? Yeah.
I would just add to the Google Analytics comment that you must have it on your website. Another good sort of add-on to that would be the webmaster, which is
Right.
free as well. And it just gives you more insight into what you're coming up on in search and how many impressions. You might find a keyword there that you didn't even know you were coming up on.
You're exactly right. Thanks so much for bringing that up. I forgot about it. But Webmaster is a separate tool that works hand in hand with Google Analytics. It gives you a little bit more information on your searchability of your website and how people are finding and what some potential keywords maybe you're not thinking about that you should be using in your copy to come up on the search results page. Webmaster is pretty good. And Webmaster is also useful if you do AdWords. Those three really work nicely together. It's kind of a pain to have so many Google products. Who agrees? I think there's just too many. Different logins for all of them. All right, any questions? Anything else? I wanted to thank you all for your time. Thanks for being here. Thanks for having me. And if you do have any questions about this guy up here on that screen, I have some handouts and I'd be happy to talk more about it. Thank you.